As a live look at the White House this morning, Israel and Hamas have agreed to advancing U.S. President Donald Trump's peace plan, both sides agreeing to pause fighting in the two-year war. But there remains a lot of uncertainty over some aspects of the plan. Joining me now is Melamed, Middle East Geopolitical Intelligence Analyst and founder of Inside the Middle East Intelligence Perspectives. Good morning.
Hello, Matt. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Let's get into this. I want to start in particular with what we do know, at least right now, is that there appears to be a pause in fighting, that some of the hostages are going to be released, and that some Palestinian prisoners are also going to be released. This appears to be a positive development, clearly, after this two-year conflict almost to the day. What do you make, again, at least of these developments so far?
Well, it is, of course, some sort of a breakthrough, finally, after 2 years of war. It's a very dramatic milestone in many aspects, of course, for Israelis generally, and of course, particularly for the families of the hostages on the one hand, and also for the people of Gaza, because potentially that could mark the pause of the war and maybe opening a new path forward to and starting to reconstruct the situation in Gaza Strip.
And so our understanding right now, too, is that Israeli forces are planning to start their withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. Is that how you understand it, too? There's a certain boundary that's been established in this first part of this plan?
Well, no, it's not a full withdrawal of the Israeli forces from Gaza Strip. At this point, Israeli forces are going to withdraw inside Gaza Strip to a new line, but it will be still inside in Gaza Strip. And for the future, at least at this point, Israel will maintain a military presence inside Gaza Strip. We are talking about a perimeter, a security perimeter that runs parallel to the Israeli-Gaza border. It will go anywhere between 1 mile to almost 2 miles deep into the Gaza territory, where Israel maintains a military presence, and also in the southern part of Gaza Strip, in parallel to the Egyptian-Gazan border, the corridor that is known by the name of the Philadelphia corridor. Israel is going to continue and maintain at this point and in the foreseeable future military presence.
Okay. There are many concerns still, right? This is only the first part of the possibility of Donald Trump's 20-point peace plan. I think one of the points in particular is that Hamas needs to demilitarize. Do you see the main stumbling block as we continue to move this process forward, or is there something else on that list or part of the plan that could also ultimately hold things up in a lasting peace for this part of the world?
Definitely. Hamas is refusing to disarm itself. The Palestinian president himself and many other leaders, of course, including President Trump, demand Hamas to disarm itself. Hamas is not willing to disarm itself. Hamas, all raison d'etre, is holding this weapon under the justification that he is allegedly defending the people of Gaza. But in the end of the day, this weapon is supposed to materialize Hamas' ultimate objective, and that is the elimination of the state of Israel through violence. The state of Israel currently and in the future, any government in Israel will not contain an existence of Hamas or any other Palestinian factors armed in Gaza Strip that will resume a significant threat to Israel. So this is definitely one of the most significant obstacles on the path ahead. There are other things we should remember in the end of the day, that Hamas is part of the Palestinian people, and he's a political player, but his agenda formally calls for the continuation of the violence against Israel. So this is another thing that has to be also solved, but it goes back to the inner Palestinian issue. So there are quite substantial obstacles ahead that need to be addressed.
Before I let you go, I want to get your take on who's going to be the most influential in this. Donald Trump has pushed this, but Egypt, Qatar, and others have played a key role. Who's going to be most, again, influential in continuing this process?
Well, there are other regional players, as you mentioned. All of them are very significant. Egypt, that physically borders Gaza Strip, obviously is enormously significant. Qatar, that supports Hamas. We also look at Turkey, a very significant regional player that also supports Hamas. Obviously, the current U.S. administration, Trump administration, as at this point, plays a very significant role in trying to stabilize the situation. And, of course, Israel. We also remind ourselves that there is the secondary circle, Iran, that currently is busy licking its wound, but we should remember that the Iranian regime was the one and is the one that interested in further fueling the flames of the conflict, and he basically supports Hamas all along the way, both financially and military-wise. So we are looking at different regional players that can and probably will play a very significant role in any kind of future scenario. The big question, of course, is whether those players are going to play a positive role or not positive role. This is something that is an open question.
We have to leave it there for now. Avi Melamed, Middle East Geopolitical Intelligence Analyst, thanks for your time this morning. Appreciate this.
Of course, thank you for having me.